difference between negative and positive rights, and how are they expressed in each of those three documents?
Negative rights are more rights where the government would not have to act on, while positive rights are more rights where the government would have to act on. Dr. John Patrick was quoted saying that Articles 1 through 22 are considered positive rights, including Article 3, which is similar to the Declaration of Independence of right to life, liberty, and the security of person.
The Bill of Rights is mostly negative rights. It says that the government cannot do certain things, therefore it doesn't have to do anything in order to give the people the rights that are enumerated there.
Negative rights also can be sort of seen as rights that people just have naturally in nature. Like the rights to freedom of speech. No one has to give you that right. You should just always have it.
You mentioned the Ninth Amendment in your statement. If you could use the Ninth Amendment to reach through and grab some rights of the Universal Declaration of Rights and apply them to us, what would you like to see applied to the United States? You mentioned some ones, right to one's culture, a right to rest. That doesn't sound too bad sometimes. Which ones would you like to see added?
I'd say the right to nationality and attach it to the stuff going on in Arizona right now. You have a right to not be stopped on the street and asked for your identification simply based on your looks. And it's opening the door for racial profiling because that's the only way that they can address any of the issues that are in that bill.
I personally like the right to rest because everybody likes rest, but not only that, but it helps improve our health, our lifestyle. It makes us healthier, and if we have more rest, like in Europe where they have more vacations, they work better, they're happier, they're more healthy.
Well, I'm sorry, what about healthcare then? Let's talk about that. Should we see healthcare added if rest makes us healthy? Should we just go ahead and have universal healthcare then? That's for the whole panel.
Depends on how you add it. If you're punishing people for not having the health care, then no. But if you're just giving them the opportunity to have health care, then yes.
This can be seen by, in 2014, they're going to begin by giving you a little fine for not having health care, but by 2016, that fine will be substantial.
You mentioned in your opening statement that the Universal Declaration is it's not necessarily enforceable. But are there ways that we can enforce the rights in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and what kinds of mechanisms might there be for enforcement?
I think it'd be very difficult to enforce the rights of the Universal Declaration on a worldwide perspective because there's so many different cultural views in so many different countries. However, in America, we have many processes, such as the amendment process and passing acts of legislation that could help bring these rights into America.
One of the ways would be through incorporating some of the rights in the Universal Declaration into new Bill of Rights or Constitution, such as countries such as Iraq and in China, they incorporated the right to rest into their Bill of Rights, which it can be more enforceable.
I think the Universal Declaration can be enforced more by nations looking to it as like an ideal. For example, the Swedish Constitution, both its third article of the Swedish Constitution and the third article of the Universal Declaration provide that all people have a right to life, liberty, and security of person. And Article 25 of both documents say that universal health care is a right of all people.
Article 15 and 16 of the Swedish Constitution say there should be no discrimination based on race, ethnicity, or sex, and that's also seen in Article 23 Universal Declaration where you can't discriminate based on through pay or other things based on race and ethnicity and sex.
Where do you see us falling short in the extending this to people? You're listing a lot of areas. Are there other areas maybe as a nation that we kind of fall short on extending rights to people?
Well, in the Universal Declaration of Rights, there is a right to no torture, which we torture some of the prisoners in Gitmo to get more information for national security.
There's also the right to be innocent until proven guilty, and with all the media that we see today, in some cases this can be very hard, like the 9/11 bombings and the Oklahoma City bombing.
In comparing and testing these documents, can you discuss the rights of revelation
The preamble of the Universal Declaration actually says that nations have a right to establish a government that would give them the rights in this document if they aren't being fulfilled by their current government. However, it must be notable there's a difference between revolution and rebellion. Definition, revolution is just making a great change. Rebellion, it often includes violence, and I don't promote violence. I think that, if anything, we should take civil disobedience.
What about, are we at time? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. What about when civil disobedience doesn't work? I mean, we had a revolution. We fought and killed people to get independence. At what point do we make that decision?
I believe we make the decision when all methods of trying to change your rights and get the rights that you want have been exasperated. Like with the Declaration of Independence, we did all we could. We petitioned. We Boston Tea Party. We did whatever we could to change the rights given to us. However, nothing worked, so thus we had to rebel.
The universal, I mean, sorry, the
Where's the time? Thank you.